Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this regularly scheduled City Council meeting for the City of Vader. It is Friday, June 26th, and the time is 7:57 a.m. Roll call.
Donna Rogers.
Here.
Jason Daly.
Here.
Joe Shy.
Here.
Mike Parsons.
Here.
Samantha Lovelady.
Here. Randy
Hall.
Here.
Great. Everyone is here. We have a full quorum. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mayor's report. City Hall is now open to the public, and we've resumed our normal business hours. The governor did extend the Open Public Meetings Act and Public Records Act emergency provisions through at least July 1st, which is why we're still having our meeting remotely. That does prohibit a city from having a fully open in-person public meeting. Lacamas Creek Highway 506 bridge update. The latest update is mid to late August. They are pouring the concrete deck. Supposedly they did it earlier this week.
Yep.
So, yep, we got a confirmation from Mr. Daly. So, that's great. Hopefully we'll get it by the wintertime. Planning Committee did hold a meeting last night. Their topics of discussion are to take a look at our building permit fees, making sure we're still in line, maybe update our resolution with a better verbiage just on clarification so anyone can understand it. They're looking at setbacks and minimum lot sizes. The Park Board had a presentation yesterday. They gave the Washington Recreation and Conservation Office their grant presentation for the Worden Park upgrades. So more to come on that. Jill Nielsen, she did resign. On our contract for consultant services. She's moving on to other things, and so she is available for historical information only, but she is no longer going to be coming into City Hall to help out on issues. The tractor is having transmission problems, so we'll have get some information on that. John's going to check in with one of the tractor supply places and see what we can do on getting that fixed. And I wanted to give Mr. Andy Wilson some recognition. Andy did pass away this last week. So as most of you heard. On behalf of the city, I'd like to extend my condolences to his family and friends. I'd also like to recognize Andy for his years of service to the city. He served in capacities as both councilman and mayor on multiple occasions, and his contributions to the city were many, and the impact he had will remain for years to come. I don't think a week has gone by since I've started this position as mayor where Andy's name hasn't come up in some discussion. From the public utilities of the city to the very building that we're sitting in now, Andy's legacy will live on for decades to come. So thank you to Mr. Wilson and everything he did for the city. Council reports. Do we have any council reports?
Well, I would just like to ask a question. If we're not supposed to be meeting all in the same building, why the planning committee did that?
So the planning committee, they were in person and they were scattered around City Hall for social distancing purposes, but we don't have enough space to have the public here. We can't have a public meeting without having the public. Right,
but you were just saying that the council meeting is not allowed to meet like that. So why is the planning committee?
We can have groups of several people together, but we can't have large public groups that an open public meeting would have. Which is why the council members and the planning committee members can be spread around City Hall, but we wouldn't have enough room to have, a bunch of public here at the same time.
Right, but the public was on the site now that we're on. That's why I'm just, there's confusion there because you're saying that council people cannot be in the same room together and have people call in, but
sure they
planning
could.
committee was allowed to do that. So
No. There's no difference between the planning committee and city council. The same rules apply to both.
right, but I know that last night we couldn't even hear what the planning committee was talking about. The only person we could hear was Scott. So we have no idea what was discussed.
Yeah, I heard that feedback from Judy that hearing the people that were further away is a problem, and we're going to have to look into figuring out how to adjust the microphones in such a way that we can get everybody heard.
Okay, that's all I have for right now.
Okay. Yeah, we'll try to do better on that. Any other council reports? All right, hearing none, agenda approval. I do have one addition to the agenda. I'd like to add a new item 1. Council's consider ordinance 2020-06 imposing moratorium in commercial historic district and setting a hearing, and then moving the other 2 items of city business to 2 and 3.
I'll make a motion to approve the city council meeting agenda with the new number 1 city business, and as
we have a motion by Mr. Parsons to approve the agenda for June 26th with the addition of ordinance 2020-06. Do we have a second?
A second.
Seconded by Mr. Hall. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Minutes approval. I'd like to make a note that there are 3 minutes to approve from the last meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the city council meeting minutes on 6/12/2020, the public hearing on 6/12/2020 for the 6-year transportation improvement plan, and the public hearing on 6/12/2020 for the Vader municipal code.
We have a motion by Mr. Daly to approve the minutes for the city council meeting, in both public hearings for June 12th. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Parsons. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Voucher approval.
I'll make a motion for voucher approval for end of June 2020 at $3,477.62 for a June 2020 total of $42,853.38.
We have a motion by Mr. Parsons to approve the vouchers. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Hall. I do have some discussion before we approve this. The printed agenda that I have, Diane, has different numbers on it, slightly, very slightly,
Yeah, like $100.
than the vouchers that were on the agenda that we sent out.
Okay.
You know why they'd be different by
I think it must be a typo.
about $150. Diane is checking the vouchers that are on the table that the city council did sign.
You should be a sports announcer.
These numbers match.
They match. What is the end of June total? Okay.
You don't have the updated one.
Right.
There was a revised one that went out.
Okay.
The numbers are 853.
Okay. So the one that. All right. So the ones that were. All right. So the numbers that we just approved for the vouchers in our motion do match the numbers that are on the table that the city council did review already. All right. So we have a first and a second for the proper voucher total.
Okay, I have I have a comment
Yes.
about one of the invoices. I don't know if this is time to bring it up, but considering it a bill, Jerome Marstetti, on his bill, he doesn't itemize anything. He's got a $250.20 bill, and all he has on there is new sewer connection. And apparently there were two of them. So I would like to see from now on that he puts down the address or where he inspected those at, rather than just new sewer connection and an amount of money.
I think we do have don't we have a request out to him to start itemizing his bill?
No, that was someone else, but he only reviewed the plans for a sewer connection. He didn't do any inspections or anything like that, and there was only one that he did that with.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll look into having that broken out a little bit better so that you can know exactly what the charges are from our city engineer. I think that's a reasonable request.
That was my only concern.
Okay. Any other discussion on the vouchers? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. All in approval. We do not have any special reports. If anyone would like to give a special report, we'll do it at the end of city business. City business, item 1, council to consider ordinance 2020-06 imposing moratorium in the commercial historic district and setting a hearing. I am going to read the whereas portion of this ordinance for everyone to hear. An ordinance of the City of Vader, Washington, adopted pursuant to RCW 35A 63-220 and RCW 3670A 390, imposing a temporary 6-month moratorium on the acceptance of certain development permits for all properties located on A Street between 6th and 7th Street, setting forth findings of fact in support of this moratorium, imposing the moratorium, stating the effect on vested rights, providing for exclusions, authorizing interpretive authority, providing for severability, declaring an emergency, setting the duration, and establishing an immediate effective date. Whereas within the express terms of the Growth Management Act, the Washington State Legislature has specifically conferred upon the governing bodies of Washington cities the right to establish and adopt moratoria related to land uses, and whereas the city possesses land use jurisdiction and regulatory authority over the city's incorporated lands, and whereas the City Council of the City of Vader recently updated the city's comprehensive plan by passage of Resolution number 3/2020 in May of 2020, and whereas the plan includes a land use section that serves as the city's guiding or strategy document to ensure the city land use goals for development pattern in Vader are realized, and whereas although the comprehensive plan was recently updated, the city has not yet updated the land use code nor updated the community action plan, and whereas the community action plan is adopted as part of the city's land use code, and whereas the city's land use code provisions in Chapter 2712 of the Vader Municipal Code regarding the historic commercial district, which is located on A Street between 6th and 7th, requires the community action plan for interpretation and implementation of the intentions of such district, and whereas there is broad public support for having the historic commercial district developed in a way that harkens back to the historic roots of the city of Vader, and whereas the city's vision for the historic district is a critical part of the vision for the development of Vader, and whereas the City Council has significant concerns about the historic district design and zoning requirements if development occurs prior to the city updating the land use code and community action plan, and whereas without the updated community action plan and land use code, the development of the historic district may be inconsistent with the council's vision for such district, and whereas the City Council finds that unless the cities act immediately to preserve the status quo, there are likely to be adverse impacts of this on the city and its citizens, including to the health and safety and welfare of the people and property in the historic district. And whereas the City Council's concerns regarding likely adverse impacts related to growth and development, which may be inconsistent with the city's vision, requires immediate attention to maintain the status quo until the community action plan and land use codes are updated to sufficiently protect the city's vision for the historic district. And whereas the moratoria imposed herein promotes the public good and is necessary for the protection of public health, property, safety, and welfare. And whereas the City Council declares that a public emergency now exists requiring that the city's moratorium become effective immediately upon adoption. So, now that I read all that, if you look at Section 2, right below that, the moratoria imposed will include all building permit applications for the construction of buildings and structures in the area described, all land use development applications in the area described which are related to or involve the location, scale, or other components of a building or structure, and all variance applications in the area described. So to comment on all of that, the issue is the guiding regulations that the city adopted many, many years ago refer back to a will of the city council and the public back then to have a historic district. And the guiding documents that we have do not describe what that means. They have a single sentence that says that will require a historical facade similar to what Vader had in its history. Per our attorney's guidance, that is not accurate enough to properly give guidance to a prospective builder on what we require. And it would require too much subjective definition on the part of a planning committee or city council. And we need to update those rules and those guidelines so that we can give good direction to builders. That is the nutshell.
Well, may I ask what the procedure is going forward for establishing that? Is this up to the attorney to do, or
no? It will be up to the city to expand on that on it and give clear defining language. Also, along with this, is that there will need to be a public hearing. For any moratorium, there needs to be a public hearing. And I believe if you read through your document further down, we set the public hearing date for a city council meeting date in August, the 12th?
Right, yeah.
The 12th of August is the public hearing on this, where we can hear input from the public. August 14th, right there. Where we can hear information to the public, and we can get this taken care of. That way all our property owners can have time to, we'll have clear direction from the city, and the city will have be able to issue clear building permits.
I have a question.
Planning Committee Chair Scott Gross, yes.
I'm curious to know, why is it for 6 months? I think that's an extremely long time and unfair to the property owners to have to sit around for 6 months. Do we really think it's going to take that long?
I mean, my preference would be for it not to take that long. However, just in my short time of doing this, just getting the comp plan updated, you had to submit that to Department of Commerce for a 60-day review before we could approve that. So things like this take time. For instance, you have to advertise to the public, wait 15 days after it's finally published in the newspaper, and then you can have your hearing, and then all of these things, there's just time built into it.
Well, we can always undo it once we're done with it.
Can it be shortened up by just saying, hey, we're going to end it, or?
The city council has the ability to end a moratorium at any time.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2020-6 for the moratorium.
We have a motion by Mr. Parsons
I have a question
to approve.
You do that.
Hold on, no.
I have a question.
We have a motion on the floor. We need to finish this particular motion. We have a motion by Mr. Parsons to approve ordinance 2020-06. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Daly. Discussion. Cindy, was that you?
Yes, I have a question. What about people who are making improvements to an existing house? If somebody's heat pump goes out or something falls off and they need to fix it, will those people be able to do that?
Absolutely. This is only on new building permits for the construction of buildings and structures in the area and land use development applications. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving Ordinance 2006, the moratoria on commercial in the commercial historic district and setting the hearing date, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries, unanimous. Thank you. Mr. Daly is excusing himself. I believe he has a family emergency with his dog. Moving on to item 2 of city business. Council considered the update resolution to 10-20, the 2020 Vader Comprehensive Plan. Now, I'm sure all the council members remember last meeting we did approve resolution 10-2020. However, it was not the most updated version of resolution 10-2020. There was an updated resolution that was sent to us just prior to the meeting by our city planner with one extra line in it. And this extra line, if I have it right here, says, where is it? Right here. This is the one addition. Whereas the city planner has determined the critical areas ordinance and development regulations are consistent with changes in state law, the comprehensive plan, and RCW 36.70A. So this does two things. First, it's kind of a gift from ecology. Our critical area ordinance is out of date, and we do need to update it. But to be in compliance, in order to receive our community development block grant for our wastewater treatment plan, we need to be in compliance for our critical areas ordinance. And ecology recommended we add this to our comp plan resolution, and then they will kind of give us a pass on it for a little while we get it updated. So this once again, this helps us satisfy ecology's guidelines to be able to get our grant. So my recommendation to council is to approve the updated resolution. We did not sign the previous one, so that we can move on with the comp plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the updated resolution number 10-2020.
We have a motion by Mr. Parsons to update or to approve the updated resolution 10-2020, the 2020 Vader Comprehensive Plan. Do we have a second?
Second.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Hall. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving resolution 10-2020, the 2020 Vader Comprehensive Plan, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Donna, I'm not sure if I heard your vote.
Oh, it was aye.
Excellent. I wanted to make sure we got everyone over the phone. Any opposed? Motion carries. It's unanimous. All right, the last item of city business. The council to discuss updates to the City of Vader employee policies. So you all received a copy of the updated City of Vader employee policies. Hope you got a chance to take a look at it. I know it's a lengthy document. I'd like you to hopefully you paid extra attention to Section 7 under the leaves. That's where most of the changes took place in order to satisfy all of the new Washington State regulations on leaves that are available to employees. This is if City Council approves of this, we'll go through and we'll make the document, put a final draft together, and then we'll have an ordinance available for you at the next meeting. Any discussion on this? Input?
Okay, so were we? Is this a final approval of this?
No.
Or,
no. It just on. This is just input on the content or further direction. And if there isn't any, then we'll put together a final draft for your approval at the next meeting.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. What section was that you wanted me to? I missed that part. It kind of breaks up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Section 7, the leaves. Leaves.
Okay. Thank you.
That's where most of the changes took place at.
Okay.
Any other discussion on this? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to public comment. Any public comment? All right, hearing none, elected official comment. Any elected official comments?
Okay, I do.
Yes.
I do. And it's about our permits. Now, I am not really educated in the permits. I've never seen a building permit. So I asked for the last 3 years building permits, and I got the ones that were all typed up, so I didn't know the difference. But there's such an inconsistency that I can see in what is charged for the same thing to different people. There's nothing consistent about that. And one of the reasons is because of the roofing issue that's going on right now. So I've requested to see the last 3 years in the actual permits that were filled out by the people by hand. What I got was ones that Stephanie has typed up, and so I didn't know there was a difference. So, but I think something needs to be done about this and things made more solid and more consistent. I mean, if you're going to price the roofing as a certain amount of money, then that's what it should be. But some of these are just, some of them have planning in it and some of them don't. The majority don't. There's, and I don't know quite how these are all really filled out by hand, but it's just the different pricing, the valuations, things like that are always different. But it's the inconsistency in most of the roofs are $86.50, and then others that are really no different are a much higher price, and there's a planning fee in there. So this is really confusing to me, and I can't even imagine. Well, of course, the people are only coming in and getting one permit, so they don't know the difference. But I'd really like to take a look at this seriously and get this straightened out.
All right. Well, first, as you heard earlier, the planning committee is taking this on. It is kind of under their realm of work, and so I've tasked them with making sure our fees are not out of line with what other places charge. Also, to make sure that we're not losing too much money on inspections and things like that too. So we are working on creating a better document. Second, I know that the permits that we've reviewed so far, out of all of them, there's only one that is perhaps not consistent with the other ones, and so we're looking at that to really understand that one permit. But by and large, what we've found is that there is consistency there.
Well, I respectfully disagree with that after looking back over a 3-year period. I see a lot of inconsistency.
Our city clerk wants to say
yeah.
something, if you'd like to hear from Diane.
I just want to point out the difference between a handwritten application and a typed building permit when it's completed. And so those are two separate documents. And Donna and I have already talked about getting the application for her since she already received the permits.
Right, yeah, I think there was some confusion when you asked for building permits, which you got, but what you really wanted was building applications, which are a separate document. And so there was some confusion there. City Hall gave you what you asked for, but you wanted something different. So hopefully it sounds like that's been cleared up, though.
Considering I'm new at this, sometimes I don't know what I'm asking for, but the whole thing isn't explained to me, So anyway, that's where the confusion came in. So I am requesting the actual application from the people. Anyway, so I guess I'm done for right now on it. But.
Okay. Yeah, just in the future, remember when you come into City Hall, if you didn't get what you asked for, it's not because they're trying to keep something from you. There probably was a miscommunication, and that we can all work together on this and make sure we're all clear and we all understand together. Any other elected official comment? All right, hearing none, I adjourn this meeting at 8:29 a.m. Thank you, everyone, and have a good morning.